Chocolate milk waffles. Man. Damn, it's good. I wish stuffing was this good. It could help me rejoice like Paul did. But seriously, how did that guy make it through so much suffering? Well, I guess it's because he understood the purpose of it and the end result of it. Let's look at it this way: suffering and the battlefield concept. So, on the battlefield, there's a warrior, an archer, and a medic. Simple enough, you know what each of them do. The warrior is someone who fights in the front lines, obviously, also the one in most danger and gets wounded the most as well. The archer uses her arrows to fight the battle from behind. Not in very much danger, but surely is also at risk of getting hurt. The medic, on the other hand, is not directly fighting the battle, but equally has an important role to assist his allies with medication and other reinforcements. But that does not mean that they are out of danger. Oh gosh, why are you telling us all this? Well, because of Ephesians 6:12. To paraphrase, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces of evil. Which means we are fighting a war. We are on a battlefield. And on this battlefield, we are one of the three mentioned troops. Let's simplify the whole thing. The enemy on the battlefield is the spiritual forces of evil. The weapons that they use to attack us are the trials and sufferings we face in our lives. Now, the warrior is way up in front. These are the people facing the major brunt of the attacks. The ones that suffer the most. The ones with the most wounds. But they are also the ones that are the strongest. That is why they are there in the first place. The archers may not be experiencing the brute force of the attacks, but they too get hurt. So it may not seem in real life these people are going through much, but they too face suffering. They too are fighting back the best that they can. And now for the medics. Well, let's say these are the intercessors of our world. They provide enough prayer backup and spiritual support for the rest of the troops to fight. They are very important to sustain the others through battle. The medics are very much in danger as well of getting attacked. You see, the troops have a purpose. Every troop is important in the general's eyes. Every troop is an integral part of winning the battle. So you may say, hey, I want to be the warrior. Or the archer seems safer. I'll choose her. Or the medic seems cool. I'll be the medic. Well, we don't really get to choose the troop that we want to be in battle. Only our maker gets to decide that. And that is his purpose for us. So maybe in one season you may be an archer, and in the next he wants you to be a warrior. Just remember, if he places you in a position, he knows you can handle it. So stand your ground and fight through the attacks of suffering, because it will make you stronger and get you closer to your purpose. So we come to see that suffering is important for our growth and for his purpose in our lives. We've suffered before. This is not the first time. And God has helped us out before, and we've seen him take us through it. But we forget. We've got to remember that he has done it before and he can do it again. St. Paul says in Romans 5:3-4, we also rejoice in our afflictions because we know that affliction produces endurance. Endurance produces character, and character produces hope. It produces something in us that we wouldn't have without affliction. God isn't the one that gives you suffering and pain. He's a loving God. But he does allow it in your life because he knows if you bring it to him, he will help you through it and you will come out stronger. You see, the enemy knows that you're capable of more than even you know. Hence, he does his best to make sure you never find out. One thing the enemy will always tell you is that you're alone during this suffering. But that is a lie. You are never alone. God is always with you. But then there is a question. Why doesn't God take away the evil in the world? If he takes away the evil, there'll be no suffering. Look at it this way. In order for God to take away the evil, he would have to take away the choice we have to do good or evil, which is our free will. But because he loves us, he gives us free will to choose to love him back and to do good. So taking away free will would be him withdrawing his love for us. Okay then, why not just take away the suffering part of it? 1, because he wants you to get stronger. 2, because he wants you to draw closer to him. 3, because he doesn't want to take away your freedom to choose him no matter what the position you're in. Jesus had free will too. When he chose to suffer and die for you, no matter what you go through, it'll never compare to that. Are you willing to suffer for him and let him use it? God always has a plan. Jesus' suffering saved the world. We are free today from eternal damnation because of him. Jesus' suffering had a purpose. Our suffering has a purpose. All we need to do is do what Jesus did and offer it to God. We gotta realize the preparation for your success and triumph is when you struggle in the dark parts of it and in the silence, when it's just you and him. It is in the tears that flood down your cheeks in the middle of those sleepless nights and you tell God, God, this is hard, but I trust you. In the moments that you never give up because of your trust, that is where he's building you up. James 1:2 says, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of any kind, consider it nothing but joy. Your triumph is only at the end of your perseverance. Sad part is people think that God isn't working when there's troubles and suffering. Have you ever thought about the symbol of the Christian faith? It is a cross. That should give you a fair idea that things ain't gonna be easy because it wasn't for our Savior. But remember, after the suffering and the pain and the dying, there is resurrection. Those who are faithful through and through get to have that. The reason that the victory is behind so many walls of suffering is because God has reserved it for the strong, the truly connected, the loyal. They will attain it. As we apply the 3 P's here, passion for Jesus that he suffered and died for you. Love him for it. Provision. Ask for grace to endure this suffering. Jesus knew that he was going to go through a lot of suffering before he went up to the cross. More than anyone could bear. So he prayed at the garden before it because he knew he too needed grace. It's that important. And finally, the practice would be to make this prayer every time you're facing the burden of suffering. God, I am not going to ask you to take away my suffering. I'm going to ask you to be with me through it, to fulfill your purpose in my life by it, and to use it for your glory. And when you make this prayer, remember one thing. After all the suffering, there is resurrection. You know how the farmer sowed the seeds in the 4 different places? Today too, God is sowing a seed in your heart. It is your choice which ground you want to be. So no matter what your suffering is right now, don't focus on the how you will get out of it. Focus on the who will be with you through it. And that is Jesus. Because he's the only answer. Be strong. Be blessed. Peace.